Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel. And here we are, looking forward to another footballing weekend. And we're going to have a look at the EFL Championship programme, the full programme of fixtures this weekend for game week 33. We're up to now. Game week 32 was essentially the midweek programme on Tuesday and Wednesday of this past week. And it was a full programme of 12 games. And it's not changed the top of the table much, as you would imagine, because we know these four teams now are at the top and battling out a mini league of four, really. Leeds still top of that mini league and still top of the whole league, obviously, with their third win on the trot, a clinical 4-0 win down at Watford. So that was really good for them. That was, even being top of the league, that's still a really good result on the road. And Sheffield United, and that's their third win on the trot for Leeds, and likewise Sheffield United have now won 3 on the trot. Perhaps not doing it in quite the same style, but nevertheless, a 3-1 home win against playoff challengers Middlesbrough. That's still a notable win for them too. So the top two looking good. Burnley again, clean sheet. Clean sheet Burnley, let's call them that from now on, I think. Still on 9 goals conceded. We're into, as I say, going into game week 33. Quite, it's astonishing, really. I'll never get my head quite around how that's happened, but it's brilliant for them. And they also secured a 2-0 home win over Hull City midweek. So the top 5, as they stand, all won their matches. So that maintains status quo at the top. Down at the bottom, not quite status quo. We have Luton have taken up bottom spot. Quite incredible, really, that they're now really staring down the barrel at a double relegation, which will really hurt everybody involved with the club. Obviously, it's a tough thing to have to take, is that. But they may not. They're still only 2 points away from it, but they just don't seem to be getting their act together at all at the moment. They've changed their manager, hasn't really had a spark yet. Matt Bloomfield struggling a little bit to get things underway. Luton are in bottom spot. Now Plymouth, with Miron Muslic, who, if you get a chance to Google him, just Google the Plymouth coach or Plymouth manager. He's a very engaging guy, and I can imagine the players listen to him in the dressing room. It's a slightly different way of putting his points across, but it's obviously working. It's 3 wins on the trot, including obviously the win against Liverpool in the FA Cup. That was sandwiched in between 2 excellent league wins against West Bromwich Albion, and astonishingly 5-1 against what were the form team of the division for a period of time. They had 3 wins on the trot, Millwall, and they came up against the Plymouth Revival and lost 5-1 down under the lights at Home Park. So Plymouth have really defeated the odds a little bit. I think everybody was thinking they're probably going to take certainly take one of the 3 relegation places, if not finish bottom. But they have really rallied, and they're now only a point behind Derby, who are 4th from bottom. So the bottom is having its own real scrap, isn't it? Real battle. Notable win for Portsmouth. The only other winners in the bottom 8, I should add. And they beat their fellow relegation candidates, or rivals, Cardiff at Fratton Park. So a bit went on at the bottom, much the same at the top, and a little usual battling around in the middle for the playoff places. We'll have a quick look at some of those results, a little bit more detail as we go through, but more importantly, it's what's to come this weekend is what we're here for. And the first match up is on Friday night. Queen's Park Rangers against Derby County. Now, Queen's Park Rangers just had that real good spark of form, didn't they? And now they've had 3 defeats in 4. And a couple of home defeats, I think, in that as well. Certainly 1 home defeat. And they certainly won't want to have another home defeat here. And Derby had battled out a 0-0 draw with Oxford, which they'll be slightly disappointed with, I think. But it's another point on the board. It's got them above the relegation line. It's just a little bit of a confidence boost, but still no win for Derby. And I don't think they're going to get a win here. I think Queen's Park Rangers will be too good for them on Friday night. So I'm going to take Queen's Park Rangers to take this one by 2-0. Then we go on to the 3 lunchtime games on Saturday. First up is Cardiff City against Bristol City. So always a little bit of feistiness between these two, although they're in different countries. They're only about 40 miles apart, if that, I think. I've been down there a few times with Bristol City. It's a feisty old match to go to. It certainly used to be at Ninian Park. I'm sure it still is at the new stadium. So Cardiff City against Bristol City is the lunchtime fare, one of the lunchtime matches. Bristol City are now had a good 2-0 home win against Stoke, having really flopped, in my opinion, against Swansea on the previous weekend, which has cost them a place in the top 6, that Swansea match. But they're now nestled right just under the playoff line, behind West Brom in 7th place. So they have a chance. As I say, I've been saying all season, their football doesn't quite represent this chance, I don't think. But nevertheless, mustn't keep criticising too much. It was a very good 2-0 home win, I understand. I didn't see much of it on myself, but on Tuesday night. So there they are, nestled in right, just waiting to pounce, shall we say. Will they pounce by winning at Cardiff? I'm not so sure. I think it'll be, as always, a tough game, tough atmosphere. It'll be a good visit. I think the Bristol City end or the Bristol City section is sold out. So it'll be a great atmosphere, but I think it'll be a draw. I'm going to take Cardiff City 1, Bristol City 1. Cardiff, of course, losing that real crunching counter against Portsmouth, so they'll be really wanting to put the record straight for that. But I see a draw. Cardiff 1, Bristol City 1. Then we have the aforementioned Portsmouth. They are at Oxford, also on lunchtime on Saturday. That is quite a local game as well, just at either end of the A34, so to speak. So not far for the Portsmouth faithful to travel this weekend. And Oxford, as I say, not stumbling, but they just had that real good purple patch, I suppose you could call it, compared to what they went through when Gary Rowett first took over. But no win in 4, but 3 draws, so hanging on in there with the points. They'll be desperate to get 3 points a game and get that home record back up and running. But I think Portsmouth now, they've made a couple of decent signings, especially in the defence, and they've got a few players back as well. So I think they're made of sterner stuff on the road. They haven't shown that yet, although they did play extremely well at Sheffield United last Saturday, but still came away on the wrong side of a 2-1. So what are they going to do this week? I think there'll be goals about in this, although it's a tight game. They're a real prize for the winner, especially also Oxford, who jumped to 41 points if they could. But I'm going to take 4 goals shared. Oxford United 2, Portsmouth 2. And the final lunchtime game on Saturday is a Lancashire derby. It involves Burnley. Who is going to score this 10th goal against Burnley? I predicted Hull in midweek, but they failed to live up to that prediction, and they lost the game as predicted. They didn't score the goal. So I'm going to say a rinse and repeat of that. I think Preston will score their 10th goal against Burnley, or the 10th goal against Burnley, but they'll still lose the match by 2-1. Burnley, as I say, had a good, decent 2-0 win over Hull, and Preston had an excellent win down at Norwich. So I'm doing them. There was a fan who left a comment on this channel not long ago, a Preston fan, and he probably keeps I'm annoying him by doing them down a little bit again. But I just see Burnley as being really that edge too much for them, and I'm going to take Preston to give them a really good game, but end up on the wrong side of a 2-1. So Preston North End 1, Burnley 2. Then we have Blackburn Rovers against this much improved, or recently improved, Plymouth Argyle side. Blackburn have, you may have, if you watched my clip for the last round of matches, there was talk of, well, there wasn't talk, it actually happened. Derby triggered the clause to take John Eustace away from Blackburn for the £500,000 clause that's in the contract. Blackburn had no option, and they have lost their man to Derby. He has now joined them. So Blackburn are looking for a new head coach. I don't believe anyone stepped in those shoes yet. So they are home to Plymouth. Now, Plymouth have had this really good run of results. And it's taken them off the bottom, as I was saying at the top of the clip. Blackburn, though, had an excellent, despite the background issues going on in the background, they had a brilliant 2-0 win down at West Bromwich Albion. So I think they might just well back that win up. And Plymouth made GS feel a bit leggy. They've had these 3 games quickly, including a tough game against Liverpool, obviously, where they ran everything and on the day deserved their 1-0. So I think Blackburn will just edge this. But renewed Plymouth, under this really fascinating manager. Do have a listen to him if you get a chance. Blackburn Rovers 2, Plymouth Argyle 1. Plymouth, of course, putting 5 past Millwall, who would won their last 3 matches. So anything can happen, but I'm just going to take home advantage to count there. Then to the 3 o'clocks on Saturday, Hull City versus Norwich. First one listed for those. And again, Norwich just can't really get a consistent run of points gathering going, can they? They did have a win-win draw, then they slumped to that defeat against Preston that I was talking about. I watched a bit of that, and Norwich they are very good on the eye, almost throughout every match you watch them, but they just didn't have the cutting edge. I think they might return that against Hull. They'll return that cutting edge, find it again. Hull, a couple of defeats now, still below the line, only on goal difference, but nevertheless, they're in the bottom 3. I think there'll be a few goals in this, but I'm going to take Norwich to find their scoring boots again and win a 5-goal thriller. Don't get many of those at the moment in the Championship with so much at stake, but I'm going to take Norwich to win by 3-2. Hull City 2, Norwich City 3. Now we come to 2 sides, incredibly, met in the Premier League last season and now find themselves all but one place, a division between them, being in the same division, if you see what I mean, because Luton are 24th and they are playing home to Sheffield United, who are 2nd. So quite incredible, the fortunes of their fallout of the Premier League. Sheffield United have stabilised and got themselves going after really being cut adrift at the bottom, weren't they, last year? And Luton, who fought pretty gamely, probably were the better of the 3 sides that came down, are finding themselves rock bottom of the Championship. Who's got the football crystal ball to see any of that happening? So Luton are up against it at the moment. The new manager hasn't really sparked too much of a upturn in results. So I'm sure he's not under pressure by any means, but he'll be wanting to get things moving. But this is a tough ask, and I think I'm going to take Sheffield United, who had a really good win against Middlesbrough in the week, to take the match by 2-0. Luton going down to Sunderland in the week. No disgrace in that, of course, but when you need points, you can't. And they're coming up against these top sides, the top sort of bracket sides at the moment. It's tough. Luton Town 0, Sheffield United 2. My take on that one. Then we have Middlesbrough against Watford. 2 sides that are having a real stumble at the moment. Middlesbrough have lost 4 in 5. And Watford, I had to look down further than I thought then. They've lost 4 in 5. So something's got to give here, maybe. It's going to be not a game full of confident footballers running out with those results immediately behind them. But there we go. Middlesbrough, as I say, going down 3-1 to Sheffield United. Pretty good game, that, to be fair. I did watch some of that. And that's probably a bit of a flattering scoreline on the night for Sheffield. That's maybe a bit harsh, but Middlesbrough certainly competed really well. Unlike Watford, who went down 4-0 at home to Leeds. As I say, Leeds are very clinical, top of the table performance there. So this is a tough one to call. I think it's going to be the odd goal in it, and I'm going to take home advantage and Middlesbrough just to sneak it by 1-0. As I say, 2 teams low on confidence, but Middlesbrough just to nick it. 3 to go on the Saturday, and Millwall, who have had that real bump down in the West Country, or in Devon, by losing 5-1, really walked into the headlights there after Plymouth put away Liverpool at the weekend. West Bromwich Albion having a bit of a struggle to a certain degree. Tony Mowbray's, as I say, gone back there. We're all pleased to see him back in the dugout, in a football dagger of some capacity. He's back at West Brom, as we know. So they've gone win-lose in the last 4. And I think they might keep that sequence going and take a win here. I'm going to take them to get to sort of dive in against Millwall and get the points. So Millwall 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. Sheffield Wednesday against Coventry. Now, Sheffield Wednesday have also sneaked up just behind Bristol City on goal difference. And they sneaked up into the playoff picture. So Middlesbrough have been pushed out of it, and Watford have slipped down, and Bristol City and Sheffield Wednesday have sort of come into the picture a little bit, well, more than a little bit. The points says they have a chance. And I think Sheffield Wednesday, against Coventry this is, with their vociferous and large home fan base, will, although they've had a little bit of a 2 wins in the last 4, 2 wins in the last 6 actually. So they'll just want to perhaps try and get a back-to-back going here after their excellent 1-0 win down at Swansea in the week. Coventry had a very late last gasp win over Queen's Park Rangers, again in midweek, 94th or 90 plus 4, whatever it is. But I think Sheffield Wednesday, with their fans behind them and that playoff line, probably the closest it's been all season for them. And just thinking back, what were we doing this time last year? Sheffield Wednesday fans are thinking, biting their fingernails, looking at relegation. So they're in, not dreamland as such, but they're in a much, much happier place. And I'm sure that vibe will be taken on to the team as well. So Sheffield Wednesday to win by 2-1. The last listed game on Saturday is Stoke City against Swansea. Now, Stoke City went very tamely down 2-0 to Bristol City. I was listening to Mark Robbins after. He was very deflated about their performance and about the attitude as well of some of the players at times, I think. So they've got a lot to prove players-wise, and he's got a bit to prove. Having come with, I really thought it was an astute, I still think it is an astute move by Stoke to get Mark Robbins on board. So I think, that they'll be looking just to get this relegation fear done and dusted and start to think about next season, hopefully, in their camp. And Swansea had that one, the Reds and Greens of losses and wins, that one green beacon in amongst a lot of red losses. It's 1 win in 6, and that was down at Bristol City last weekend, as I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, it's been loss all around that. But I think this may be a battle of 2 teams low on confidence and 2 teams still looking over their shoulders a little bit. Not so much Swansea, they've got an 8-point gap at the moment, but that can easily be eaten away if you take your eye off the ball. So I'm going to take a draw. Stoke City 1, Swansea City 1. And we have to wait until Monday, A, to see the league leaders, and B, to complete the programme. And it's 2 of the top 4, the breakaway 4, who we'll call them. 2 of the breakaway 4 doing battle at Ellen Road on Monday night. Hopefully a better watch than the Leeds Burnley game recently. That was a disappointment when we built it up for that. I think that was a Monday night game as well. Or was it Burnley Leeds? I think it was at Burnley, to be fair. But irrespective, two good sides completely cancelled each other out, and it was a bit of a poor draw for me anyway. So hopefully this will be a bit more life to it. Sunderland will be backed by a good fan travel. Not far to go. I'd have given an evening travel. It's not too bad for them to come down to Leeds. Sunderland, as I say, routine 2-0 win over Luton, hapless Luton at the moment. And Leeds had that really good clinical, polished win down at Watford 4-0. So I think Leeds will continue their excellent form with all the pain of last May sort of in their minds. They're really turning it on at the moment. 5 wins out of 6. That draw with Burnley, the only sort of points dropped in recent weeks. So it's looking great for them. 66 goals scored, and they really are running away with the goal scoring charts, as in goals scored. So good for them. I think it'll be a good home win to wind even up the weekend. So there we have it. 12 games for you, 12 games for us all to enjoy. I'm sure there'll be lots of thrills and spills, and hopefully plenty of goal action and plenty of talking points for me to come back with next week. I don't believe there's any midweek games next week, so I will be back with a round up for game week 34, as it will be then, getting into the real nitty gritty. So there we go. Enjoy your weekends. I hope you enjoy your football, whatever you do, whatever you watch. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and please subscribe and tell your friends about the channel. The great work the guys do on here. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you for listening.